So my goal is that this will be the most boring presentation of the 2 days. Because if everything I cover here you're already doing, that'll make me really, really happy. But my guess is that's probably not happening. So even if you are doing some of these things, I'm hoping that maybe I'll say something or point out something. You're like, oh, I didn't think about it in that way. So even if you are doing most of these, I'm hoping that you'll get some kind of nugget out of this. So I'm going to cover like the top 10 things we get in support, or talking to you guys that, hey, can I do this? Yeah, you actually can, and here's how you do it. So first thing, automated follow-ups. So you send a proposal. Who is using automated follow-ups? Good chunk of the room. Okay, but there's a lot of hands that are not up. So automated follow-ups are a set it and forget it thing. Send your proposal, send up to 3 follow-ups on whatever schedule you want with whatever copy in the emails you want, and that SynkedUP will automatically remind your customer to go ahead and take action on that proposal. Even if it's a no, sometimes a no is better than nothing. But we want to keep reminding them, nudging them along. We will do that work for you so that you're not having to remember, oh, when did I send that to Mrs. Smith? Let me get her a reminder, give her a nudge, see what's going on. So that can be found when you send a proposal. When you hit the send button here, and you get this pop-up of who you're sending it to, all that, your verbiage. Down the bottom is you can set that custom for that proposal on I want it to go out twice in 3 days, whatever it might be. Or in proposal settings under setup, you can set it up to be automatic so that I want every time I send a proposal, I want it to go out 2 days later with a gentle nudge, 5 days later, whatever it may be. So you can set that up as a default and not even have to think about it. You click send on a proposal, all that work's done. It's going to do everything for you. Next thing is email templates. Who here loves writing emails? You love to sit down and just, I know you do at the end, but anybody else? So another thing, set up your templates so that you're not retyping the same thing. I almost guarantee every proposal you send out, you're writing pretty much the same thing. You might vary it a little bit, but overall, it's going to be the same thing. So again, under proposal settings, email templates, set up different versions. Maybe you have a hardscape proposal email introduction. Maybe you have based on salesperson. Various different ways you can do this, but you're not going to you don't have to end up retyping it every single time when at the end it's going to be about 90% the same thing. So for this, who's using email templates? You got about, maybe half the room. So use these because it'll save you time, get proposals out quicker, and be more custom to your business. Again, so in the template itself, you can have your subject line, your body. These are called placeholders, so you can grab those to pull the client's name, pull the link to the proposal, pull the salesperson, whatever it might be. Those will go in so that you don't have to go and edit those on each individual one. It'll automatically do that for you. All right, proposal payment schedule. Now this is something a lot of you guys asked for. Obviously on every proposal you could set up what you want to have your schedule be, 50% down, 50% on completion, various schedule throughout, whatever it might be. Now you can set that up as a default so that if you are primarily design build and your payment schedule is primarily the same every time, you're not going in for each proposal and editing what the SynkedUP default was. So you can set that up, whatever it might be. And then for interval based, maybe this is for like a maintenance contract, an annual contract that's 10 grand spread out over 10 months, whatever it might be, you can have that set up as well. So you're not, again, reinventing the wheel every time, taking that time to rebuild it when it's essentially probably the same thing over and over and over. Have you guys found that useful? Awesome. But wait, there's more with that. The approved proposal will then dictate your invoicing. This was a super pain in the rear end previously. You'd have, whatever, a $100,000 project broken up into 5 increments of 10%, 15, whatever it might be. You'd get to the invoicing and you'd have to do the math, spread it out. And if you had multiple work areas, this became a 7th grade math problem every time. Now, you come in here, you do the drop down, I'm doing the down payment. Click, done. All the math filled out, work areas divvied up perfectly to match the proposal. Now we're doing the second payment, boom, done. So you're not going through and figuring out that math, divvying it up, figuring out what 20% of each work area is. Quick and easy. If you have multiple versions, you'll have the different approved proposals there, so you can always make sure you're clicking on the right one. Is everyone aware of that and using that? And has that been helpful? Yes. So a little tip and trick there, even if you did not do a sent proposal to your customer, you can go in and create the digital proposal, approve it yourself as if you're the customer to generate this. So if you're someone that works with PDF or printed out proposals, you go meet with the customer one-to-one, so they're not actually going in there and approving, create the proposal, approve it as on their behalf after they've actually approved it, and then you'll generate that payment schedule so that it's there and you just click it off as you go through. Okay, attachments on proposals. This is a question we got. I want to attach a picture to my proposal. I want to attach a video, a sample of the paver I'm going to use. We can't currently attach a physical picture that's going to show up on the proposal, but what we'll do is attach a link to a shared drive. So create a Dropbox, a Google Drive, something like that for the Smith project, and then dump in whatever you want in there. Sample pictures, before pictures, after pictures as they go, and you can drop that link right into the proposal. You can do it as a one-off specific for that proposal, or put it on as a default and it'll be on everything. So maybe you have some people, instead of they want terms and conditions are multiple pages contracts. So instead of having the proposal be 30 pages long, they will put the contract in a different link, and then in their terms and conditions on the proposal, it'll say reference contract link for full contract details. So that might be your default that shows up on everything, and then a link to is specific to that project with their pictures, documents, whatever it might be. Are you guys using that feature to attach things to proposals? A few people? Cool. Okay, this is another one that we get asked all the time. Do you guys ever wonder, if you're not familiar, what this little printer button is? That will give you two different printable PDF reports. This is the project report here, which will take by work area, list out all the items listed in that, so labor, materials, and give you quantity. No pricing, there's no dollar signs on this at all. Also give you the work area notes of what the crew is supposed to do. So some people that maybe fully haven't adapted the mobile app, or they still like to have paper copies for the crews, this is a great kind of quick and dirty printout for your crew to have, keep in the truck of what materials they need. Some people will also use this as somewhat of a PO. They'll grab this, send it to their vendor. Again, there's no pricing on it, so there's nothing to worry about there, but it'll give you all the quantities based on work area on what's needed. Then once the job is done, there's the item summary report. And this will be a printable summary of everything that actually happened. All the actuals Weston was just talking about are available here. So you can skim through by work area. You have some filters up there as well, but you can kind of get a summary of what happened on the job. Anybody using these in various different ways? Yeah, cool. All right, budget updates. Obviously, we are synced up. We are Know Your Numbers. The budget is the cornerstone of everything we do. Are people updating their budget regularly? Okay. Who here did their budget when they first came on board and haven't looked at it since? All right. I know you're not raising. Somebody. There's more in here. I know it. So you may not know, you don't have to talk to this guy to update your budget. Of course, you'd be very happy to, but you don't have to. The budget can be updated and should be updated without having to reach out to us. We are here to support you if you have deeper questions, you want to pick our brains on different scenarios and things, but I highly recommend, to be successful, that budget is updated at least quarterly. And I would very much urge you to do it monthly. You will see dramatic difference in your business if you keep that budget updated. You hire somebody, you fire somebody, you buy equipment, you sell equipment. things change. Keep that updated so that your pricing is always correct. So in order to do that, find the budget that you have active, and we'll display that, whatever's applied here, and then copy it. Once you apply a budget, we lock it down because we want to preserve the history there of what you're operating from. But every month, every quarter, go in, copy that, make a new copy, make it a 2025 revised, updated, whatever you want to call it, and then go through and make your edits. Run through these tabs across the top, check your crew. Did I fire anybody? Did I hire anybody? Did I plan to hire someone and actually not? Make sure that that is accurate. Did I give anybody a raise? Adjust all those wages. Materials, just keep a track. Am I on track on what I thought I'd spend? Same thing, equipment. Did I buy, sell anything? Subs, and then overhead. Just give that a quick run through. Hey, did my insurance bill jump? Do I need to make some adjustments there? Did I hire an office admin? Make that. So go through that, make sure that is all up to date. Then you're going to get to the apply. Once you've got your overview set, your net profit where you want it, this blue button will then take that information and apply it to the system. What it does there is take your overhead markups, your profit margin, and dump it onto the budget page. So if we're doing 2025, it's going to dump it there. Everything is pre-populated. Once you hit this green save button, now that budget is active throughout the system. So if you just update the worksheet, great, you're getting an idea of things, you haven't affected anything yet. If you hit the blue apply button, great, you're making the next step, but you still haven't affected the system yet. Once you get to this page, hit the save button. Now that new budget, those new markups are effective through the system. Does that all make sense? Pretty simple. But again, Chris is here, I'm here, we are here to help if you have questions, but don't feel like to do that, you need to call us and get on a call with us. You're perfectly capable and able to do that.
We still need it manually and laboring the item catalog.
Yeah, so great point. Thanks, Josh. Yeah. When you get to this page, once you've made any changes, this average wage right here, that's dictated on what you have on the labor tab. It's averaging out everything you're paying your crew. That then needs to be translated to the item catalog, to your labor item, or multiple labor items if you have them. So that once any changes in here to the labor tab will likely change that number. To make your budget match what your pricing is doing, make sure you translate that to the average wage in the item catalog as well, and you're off and running. Thanks, Josh. Okay, labor rates. This is a question we get all the time. See that picture in there? You might have people doing different things on a job, and some companies like to charge different rates for that. We can have a debate on why I don't think that's a great idea, but that's in a whole nother presentation. But if you want to charge X amount for somebody that's doing the irrigation work, which is more than what somebody just cutting the grass is doing, you have that capability in SynkedUP. So I want to talk about how labor rates work and then how you can separate those rates within a job. There's default labor rates, which just happen by default, and then you have custom. Your default labor rates, this is the My Company page here under Setup. The different job types, maintenance / service tickets, and project. These SKUs point back to one of your labor items in your catalog. So whatever labor item you want to use for a project, say it's a $100 an hour install rate, that is the SKU that you want here in your My Company. Then when everybody clocks into a project, it's going to track that rate for actuals. So if they clock in, no matter what is in the estimate, you might have 15 labor rates in your estimate of excavation time, transport time, bedding layer, whatever it might be. All that just influences the estimated price, but when they clock in, it's all going to be tracked on that project labor rate. Same thing for maintenance. So some companies have a lower maintenance rate. So make sure that SKU matches the maintenance rate you want to use on any maintenance jobs. So that will then just happen automatically. When everybody clocks into a project or maintenance, that's the rate that's going to be charged out. However, if you want to charge something different than that within a work area, you have the custom labor rate drop down right here. So what you'd have to do is bring in that specialty labor, whatever it might be, bring it in here, and then once it's in the work area, it will show up in this drop down here. So in this example, I brought in pruning labor. It's different than my typical maintenance labor. Now I want for this, anybody that then clocks into this work area will bill out at that rate. Does that make sense? Just having it in here will do nothing except influence your pricing. For the actuals to be recorded correctly, you need to point to that. So you can have a labor rate per work area. So within a job with multiple work areas, you could have different labor rates being charged out. That gets really confusing. I know we get a lot of questions on that. Does that help? Does that clarify things? Does that clear up any misconceptions maybe anybody had? Awesome. Okay, Zapier automations, part of our pro plan. This is used to help. Wait, first of all, does anybody know what Zapier even is? Few people. Zapier is a software that allows two other softwares to talk. So we have on our pro plan a Zapier integration which helps you automate some tasks in your business. So a very simple example is you can have a website for your company with a form. A client jumps on there, they fill out, hey, I'm Mrs. Smith, I want to get a patio, here's a picture of my yard, whatever it might be. That would then typically come in as an email to you that you would then take that information, enter it into SynkedUP, and move on. With Zapier, when they fill out that form on your website, that client will automatically have their information entered into SynkedUP. So you can avoid that whole double entry type thing.
That's what Jordan was doing on that video.
Correct. Then another example is if setting consultations. You can have something like a Calendly link in your website where a client can go book a consultation without ever having to talk to anybody. Pick the time that works based on your calendar availability. When that is set up, that will then create the consultation within SynkedUP. So again, you're keeping things aligned. Going more advanced, you can have maybe some kind of a Trello board or Monday.com type thing to track progress through a project. So as a project in SynkedUP changes statuses, it will then move through the board. And then on the board, maybe that triggers communication to the customer or communication to somebody else in the company. There's things like all kinds of things you can do with that. Okay, with the new mobile app, and we're going to talk about this here in greater detail in a moment, so I won't go into much here, but with this new version of the app, you can replace your shop clock altogether. Because now we have the ability to clock in and clock out. Even if you don't ever select a job, you would mimic what that shop clock on the wall in the shop is doing. People show up, clock in, track their time. At the end of the day, they clock out. So even if at the bare minimum of just getting started tracking time within SynkedUP, get rid of the shop clock and just clock in and clock out. Yes, it'll all be unbillable, but that's all your shop clock is doing. So start there, and then we start adding the jobs in and all that. Okay, and then last but not least is routing that actually works. So this is probably the greatest thing we've done in a while, because the routing questions before they were tough to deal with. This new routing is unbelievably good compared to what we had. Especially for, the biggest complaint before is if you had to make mid-season changes. In this industry, right, when you start in March, that's how it goes for the rest of the year, right? Nothing ever changes? Yeah, don't think so. So maybe 2 weeks in, Mrs. Smith's got somebody else to cut, or Mrs. Jones wants to get added. They're constantly making changes. Now, you can take this route, unschedule it with a click of a button, add somebody, subtract somebody, re-optimize, click the button again, and it's back on the calendar. In a matter of seconds, you're keeping this up-to-date, current. The crew is always knowing where they're at. You're not rebuilding, not knowing what state you're in. So super, super awesome. This got turned on for everybody a week or two ago. The old system is still there so that you can transfer things over. But if you're doing any maintenance, any recurring work, start playing with this. You're going to find it to be night and day amazing in organizing the production of the crews out in the field. All right, so that's a quick and dirty 10 things you maybe didn't know. Did I uncover anything like, holy cow, I didn't know SynkedUP did that? Or is this room pretty advanced? All right, awesome.